Okay, in this video I want to talk about why some zones hold and why some zones don't. I've got a few supply and demand zones plotted here on the chart. Let's start with this first one over here. As you can see, the zone was created because of an earnings announcement. We have a demand zone, price jumped up quickly away from this where it was trading sideways for 2 or 3 days, so that gives us a good demand zone. But because of the fact it was generated by an earnings announcement, we normally wouldn't want to put too much credence in this zone. But we still put it on our chart, and I'll show you the reason why, because this was even a year later. Price came back down to that zone, and the zone did hold. And the reason for that is because of how fast price came down. If it came down like this area over here, down into the zone, you would not expect that zone to hold. But because it moves so fast down into that zone, there's a real high likelihood of this zone holding, even though it's a year old. Okay, here's one that was not a demand zone that was not generated as a result of an earnings announcement. And as you can see, when price returned back to that one, it bounced right off of it for a nice trade. Again, here's one up here, a supply zone that was generated because of an earnings announcement. And as you can see, when price got back to it, it did not hold. So it also did not come back to it fast. It slowly came back up to that zone. If this was to come up to it sharply and probably from even further away from it, then there'd be more likely for that zone to hold. Okay, one other thing I want to show you. Here's a zone that was a supply zone that was not generated as a result of an earnings announcement. You can see this is a beautiful zone. Okay, it should quickly moved away from it, showing that there's lots of leftover sellers up in this area. But here's the problem. Look how many times it came back close to the zone before it hit it. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times, and even all of this area right in here. Remember, every trade there's a buyer and a seller, so a lot of these sellers that were left over from this gap down up here are being used up every time it returns to this price. So there's a good chance that this zone's not going to hold by the time it breaks through it. Even though it didn't go all the way up to the zone, every time it came up close to it, it's using up those sellers. So that's something that you have to watch too. When you see something like this, start being a little skeptical about that zone holding. Hope this helps.